My name is William Falquero. I lead the consulting practice in the Americas for Roboyo, a leading global implementation partner for RPA solutions and all things intelligent automation. Well, UiPath's partnership is intrinsic to the success of our organization. In fact, Roboyo has the oldest certified training partnership with UiPath of any implementation specialist globally. We're the only triple diamond partner in the world. And functionally here in the United States and throughout the Americas, this partnership is fundamental to our sales success, to the opportunity identification, client realization, acquisition, and then more importantly, the long-term development for solutions. So again, the partnership is fundamental to success on several levels. So first, from the platform perspective, when I think about UiPath, I think about three words. I think about access, I think about usability, and I think about scale. So in terms of access for our clients, UiPath really does provide a low barrier to entry, and resources are readily available online through the Academy. And through our partnership, we're able to help upskill operators very, very quickly in support of our clients' goals. When I think about usability, again, it goes back to the adequacy of the resources available readily online, as well as the ready base of developers that can work in C# and .NET. So it's easy in terms of adoption and working on the Microsoft frame. And then finally, at scale, if we think about the overall complementary application ecosystem that functions based on the UiPath framework, you can help deliver solutions quickly and effectively, basically for most of the challenges that exist in the automation space. But we've had success globally, as I mentioned, whether in Europe or in Asia or here in the Americas. Most of the clients do come back and grow from pilot exercises to longer-term partnerships. So I would say about 2/3 of the solutions we deploy would be considered scaled solutions, where it takes RPA as the backbone of the automation infrastructure and then augments it with other technologies or deeper layers of RPA, much more complex solutions. So that's about 2/3 at large. Another third of them would be the range of pilots all the way to the other opposite side of the spectrum, which is very focused on the advanced AI capabilities that UiPath enables. So if we think about the relationships that we've been able to cultivate, I think about VPs of sales here like Tima Mueller, like Shannon Grace, like Carmel Smith, who are phenomenal partners and see the strategic needs of their clients and understand how to position partners properly for maximum success. If we take it a layer down and I think about the account executives that I work with, like Jason Mara, Ivan Blass, Michael Biebel, William Gass, there's too many to name. Really, we form a very functional and cohesive unit where we look for both product and services opportunities, not just for our own benefit, but more what is the client in need of. And that's how we're able to really tune solutions that fit both strategic needs at enterprise scale, and more importantly, for smaller to mid-sized companies, those very tactical solutions that extend capabilities and create incremental capacity. From a product suite side, when I think about UiPath, again, I think of it as the backbone. I think about it as the fundamental underpinning. Perhaps I can approach anywhere from 25 to 45% of solutions with RPA alone. But the way the application ecosystem is provided, the way its extensibility, I can now see other opportunities and help clients get through their journey faster to deliver lift and benefit. Often when smaller to mid-sized companies are beginning their automation journey, they're looking for the opportunity to find resources that can help them get started with a minimal cost investment. And I think UiPath has created a platform through manageable and targeted investments on the license side, but more importantly, through the Academy. So I can turn around to a client and say, those resources are there for you to consume and use as you feel best in alignment with your needs. I'm here to help you craft a much more strategic offering that will benefit you in the long haul. And whatever that might look like, be it a major investment, be it a short-term investment, be it a pilot engagement, we can do that together. When I think about the technology side, again, it is by nature a platform that's readily accessible to clients, and that's fundamentally important. When you introduce new technologies on the AI side, it's still conceptual. It's difficult to consume. It's difficult to implement. RPA sits on the .NET framework. I can have a conversation with business stakeholders as readily as I can have a conversation with IT stakeholders, and I can drive that connectivity between the two partners internally in my clients and then leverage my account executives for full delivery. So I think that also provides a great deal of benefit. So I think strategically, that challenge persists, and we should consider that that challenge will persist throughout the hype cycle and into the ready consumption of RPA in the long haul. And that's an acceptable position. UiPath is well provisioned, and it enables us as partners to engage properly with clients such that we can say, let the business drive it and let IT support it. And though that sounds contrived, that is fundamentally significant to the ability to launch an RPA practice. Before joining Roboyo, I led one. And when you're taking that IT tool set out of the IT department and you're asking the business team to engage in a technological discussion for which they may not be readily prepared, to have a tool that's readily accessible, like I've said multiple times, I think that gives a lot of lift, but I do think that that challenge, that push and pull, which is very healthy, will persist for a long time to come. I think what's going to happen in the long haul, when we think about automation at large, right? Take away RPA, take away content intelligence, take away machine learning, take all that away. What we're talking about is the blending of functions. And this is not new. Larger organizations in the 90s started the path where they would deploy IT resources within business functions. Then there was a push towards centralization. I think there's a consistent ebb and flow in that. What's interesting about RPA is I think we have to shift all of the delivery paradigms. If you're having a conversation about whether you should use waterfall methodology or agile methodology, you're missing the point. Why are we not having conversations that readily have IT, HR, finance, and the business functions at the table concurrently to drive a solution out in 2, 3, 4 business weeks, 5, 10, 15, 20 business days? That's the change that RPA can drive. And again, for all the features that we've discussed, I think UiPath enables that quite well. When you can walk in a room and say, look at the Forrester research, look at the Gartner research, you'll find there are leaders in the space. But when you can say, we recommend you work with the leader, the one who's in the best possible position in the quadrant, the one who has the broadest application ecosystem, and most importantly, the one who works best with partners to solve the problems that clients have, I think it brings credibility. It also, in the long haul, creates an environment of confidence. So it's interesting when you can find the balance between building a professional services offering for a client that addresses problems that they may not be able to address on their own, and to bring a product offering that's completely complementary. I think that's where you get real benefit, and again, it ties back to credibility. Get us in the door, let us show how the tool works, and at that point, I think adoption comes implicitly. When I think about having a conversation with an internal stakeholder, as someone who's leading an RPA practice, the dynamic is different. That's where the accountability sits for execution. And I try to carry that mentality to my engagements with clients. I don't want to sit across the table from a client and produce a marvelous PowerPoint deck that sets up a vision for something that can never be executed. So I think that transition from the execution side, from the accountability side, after all the professional services firms have walked out of the room and you have to deliver results, I'm happy to take that to my clients and try and sit on the same side of the table as them and then communicate more effectively with partners like UiPath to help them understand this is the true need. If we address the true need, the opportunities will continue to flow to solve more impactful and more complex problems. We are coming up in an interesting time. And this goes well beyond technology. Within the next 12 to 18 months, there's a material possibility that the world enters into a recessionary cycle in the top 20, top 30 economies across the world. RPA, and intelligent automation at large, is well positioned to help companies move through that cycle more efficiently than ever. But that will change the paradigm of both how we create offerings and how we tender them to clients. And I think it's critical that from the product and the services side, we work together, understand the macroeconomic conditions that will prevail, that will drive how our customers consume the products and services we deliver. If we can do that effectively, if we can understand how that affects our sales plans, if we can understand how it affects our delivery plans, if we can understand how it affects the specific types of offerings, and more importantly, the segments and categories in the organizations in which we'll need to work, then I think we can be successful together, despite macroeconomic conditions changing before us. Roboyo goes to market with 5 offering sets. We deliver advisory and consulting, we deliver implementation engineering, we deliver training, managed services, and proprietary cloud offerings. And it's very interesting to see, thanks to a conference like Forward, not only how other partners are delivering their offerings, not only how clients are consuming those offerings in the market space, but to watch the evolution. If this is Forward 3, if I think a year ago what was in the market space in Miami, it's still there, but it's changing rapidly. And there are new offerings on the table now, through the complementary service providers, through the intrinsic functions and capabilities of UiPath, right? It's extraordinary to see the growth in this market space. And when we think about what it looks like in 2, 3, 4 more years, It's a fascinating time to be in this business, and the Forward Conference really gives us an opportunity to come to the table together. Argue, disagree, compete, but most importantly, learn from each other.